Hello everyone, welcome to another Narc Survivor live video. In this one we're going to be talking about what happens when you walk away from a narcissist. Because many of you may have walked away already, or maybe you're thinking about walking away. You're getting fed up of the treatment. You realize that you deserve better after everything you've done, everything you've given to them. So you may be ready to move on, or maybe you've moved on already and you want to know what's going on with them. Because of course, they do like to portray a certain image to you about how things are going on for them. They want to make you think that they're moving on now and they're so much better off, so much happier without you. And everything's perfect now, everything's ideal. But everything was a problem with you. So that's what they want you to think. And they will orchestrate it. They will create these scenarios, they will post things on social media to try and make you believe that yes, they've really moved on. They're happy now. They found someone else. And this could be within a week, within a few days. In some cases, it could be overnight. It's like all of a sudden, now they've moved on. They're living their best lives. They found someone who gets them, understands them. Someone who's doing things that you never did. Someone who's there for them in ways that you never were. Or at least, that's what they want you to think. But I can tell you that the reality is very different. It's nothing like you think it is. And the evidence, the signs of that are all there from when you were dealing with them, from what you had to go through. I mean, you just got to remember how they were struggling with you. And yes, I see everyone is saying hi in the live chat. Hi to all of you. Also, Melinda, D. Shanks, 7018, Eugenia V. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live video. But yeah, you got to remember how they were struggling with you. Despite everything you were doing for them, everything you were giving, providing, they were constantly struggling. They were never happy, never satisfied. You just couldn't do enough for them. And it's not that there was an issue with you, because you were doing more, providing more, and overextending yourself more than anyone had ever done for them before, and than they had ever done for themselves. So it's not that there was an issue with you. It's that they couldn't receive it, appreciate it. It couldn't fill that black hole inside of them, the void. And not only that, but they were struggling to keep up with you. They were struggling to make you happy. And you got to think, we're not even that difficult to please. As codependents, people pleasers, empaths. But a lot of times all we really need is an opportunity just to help them. That's enough to make us happy. Forget about us even receiving anything in return, other than just the basic necessities maybe. And they couldn't even do that. They couldn't even do basic things for you. And everything that you were doing for them, typically what happens is, when someone is struggling, it typically only takes a certain amount to where they then feel grateful, they appreciate it, and then they're ready to give back to you. because they feel happy, satisfied. And when a person is happy, they want to share their happiness. Emotions are contagious. However we feel, we typically want other people to feel the same way, especially those who are closest to us. That's typically how it works. But you never got that from the narcissist. Despite everything you gave, everything you sacrificed, it was never enough. There was never a time where they could say that they were happy, satisfied, where they genuinely wanted to do and give to you. That moment never came because they were never happy. They were never satisfied. It was never enough for them. And that's not because you weren't enough. You are enough, you're just not enough for them, because nothing could ever be enough for them. They will always need more. And they're kind of stuck in a vicious cycle. They're insatiable because no matter how much they get, they're never satisfied. And actually, as you may have noticed, when you were running endlessly on the hamster wheel trying to please them, the more that you were doing, the more that you were giving, the less satisfied they became, not more. They became less and less satisfied the more that you invested into them. And that's typically how it goes for them. So this is it, even if they do move on and they find the perfect partner, even if they find someone who's everything they made it out that they were looking for, like they were looking for someone more attractive, younger, someone who has more money, whatever it may be, even if they find that person, they're going to end up feeling even less satisfied, not more. Because the more that someone invests, the less satisfied they feel. And I've talked about this concept before. It's almost like it just, the more that you are investing into them, the more of yourself that you are giving, it just seems to widen this black hole, this void. It makes it even bigger, greater, and it makes them even more hungry. So they want even more from you then, because the void has gotten even bigger from you pouring into it. But then the more that you pour into it, the wider it gets again. And this is how they require so much more from you over time, and it's never enough. This is how that happens. They can never be satisfied. And I've never heard from anyone where they've said that they've ever made a narcissist happy. Someone who is self-absorbed, someone who's constantly focused on themselves, their own interests and needs. I've never heard anyone say that they've ever made that type of person happy. It just doesn't happen. And it's not a coincidence. When you are constantly focused on yourself and it's all about what you need, instead of trying to understand or listen to the other person, you're never going to find satisfaction that way. Satisfaction comes from connecting, listening, understanding people. That's where satisfaction comes from, is connection, not from disconnection. Disconnection leads to loneliness, depression, desire. And this is where they go wrong. And they think that by disconnecting, by making it all about themselves, they're finally going to be happy. They're finally going to get what they want. And they feel like it's coming to them, like it's just around the corner. It's just over the horizon. But it never comes. And this is how they then turn against you. They get frustrated, they blame you. But it's because We're just not designed that way. I mean, think about it. If we were biologically wired that way, we would have died out a long time ago. If happiness came from us just disconnecting and making it all about ourselves, we wouldn't even exist. We are social creatures for a reason. And this is something that they will never understand. And this is how they stay stuck that way. And really, they just settle for short-term gratification instead of something of depth, real connection. They just make it all about themselves. It's all one-sided. It's not reciprocal. This is why they're always so miserable. This is why they're never happy. Because they make it all about themselves, their personal consumption, their personal interests, their fulfillment, their image. This is how it happens. And so whatever happens, wherever they go, whoever they find, they're still going to be struggling no matter what. No matter what happens, no matter who they find. It doesn't matter how great this new person is. Yes, they will make it look good on the outside, just as they tried to do with you. Because that's where they get the supply, the fuel. Is from presenting it to people and making it seem as though it's so much more than what it really is. Because then they're getting that validation. They can't validate it themselves. They can't find any fulfillment in it directly. So this is why they put it out there and they flaunt the new supply on social media. To try and make you think that it's more than what it is. And to get you to give your validation to it. Because you do have inner peace, you do have inner happiness. And that's what you're really just providing to them through your validation. Just taking out some of the trolls here a moment. All of the trolls are flying in here today. But this is it, they're all looking for supply. And that's really what you were for them. They felt inadequate on their own, so then they targeted you. And it's kind of like you acted as a shield, as another layer of themselves, and they held you up in front of them as part of their image to try and compliment themselves, to make themselves look good so that they could keep getting validation. Because they need it constantly so they can feel good about themselves. They can't generate it from within. Or they can't find satisfaction in anything directly. They are always in third person. They're always looking at how other people are perceiving of them. And this is why everything is finely tuned with them. It's made to look good. When they post with the new supply, it's meant to convince you of something. That they're doing better, that they're happy, that they found someone better now. This is what it's all designed to do because they need the validation. They can't get any fulfillment from it directly. So of course, I appreciate how it can be confusing, difficult to understand at times. It's like, it seems like they've moved on. It seems like they're doing better. But really, it is just all an act, just as it was with you. And that's all that it's ever going to be for them. And typically, what tends to happen is that they downgrade. They go down in life. They don't find someone better. They don't typically find someone more attractive, more successful than what they had before. And in all honesty, most people don't. Most people don't. Whether they're narcissists or not. And I found that even in my own experience, is that I became better. I became more self-aware, more empathetic, more compassionate, more successful, everything. And I can tell you that I have not been dating anything like the women that I had before. When I was in my early 20s, it never got any better than that. And, this is part of the times that we live in. It's just not how it used to be. So, of course, all of this is having an effect on narcissists as well. Like the way that things are going in society, like for everyone, most people, I would say, are probably struggling to find, the level of partners that they may have had before, a decade ago. And especially for narcissists, they typically do downgrade because, the way that things go, where they just burn out one supply after the next, they completely drain them. And of course, that takes up a lot of their energy. And also, they normalize it over time. So it's like they got this much, they crossed this far over someone's boundaries this time. And then the next time, they want it faster. They want twice as much in half the time. And so they burn out people very quickly. And typically their relationships, they end up getting shorter and shorter as time goes on. And much lower quality. Much more shallow, superficial connection. And that's just typically the way that it goes for them. It doesn't get any better. And of course, because people are waking up now, they're aware of this disorder. Most people are kind of closed off to it. And closed off to people in general at this point. People aren't open in the way that they used to be to connect to someone on a deep level, to trust in them, to let that person have power over them and their life. So narcissists these days, they are really starting to struggle with supply. And this is why, many of them turn to social media or becoming influencers. Or they just target another narcissist. They just team up with them and they have this two narcissists in a relationship or a group of narcissists. And then they just go around targeting vulnerable people. We're seeing that a lot more now because that dynamic, it just doesn't exist like it used to. And it did used to exist. Many of us will know that because we were that for the narcissist. And people were definitely much more vulnerable, open before. Like over a decade before. And it's not like that anymore. And I'm seeing this from many different YouTubers are talking about this. And so, yeah, I believe that they're not going to find someone like you again. Someone who is honest, open, authentic, compassionate. It's just not going to happen. And I think what we will see in the future is probably more impasse together in relationships. Because we're more aware of it now. We know what to avoid. And we know more what to look for. We know more about what we want. But yeah, while we were with these narcissists, we carried the entire relationship, emotionally, financially, mentally. I mean, it was a complete psychological and financial drain. We were their life support. And we just had to give everything. just to sustain it, just to keep it going. And no matter what, they always wanted more and more, and it was never enough. So of course, once you identify that position of significance that you held in their lives, you really think they're going to find someone else who can fulfill that position? Of course not. And yet they clearly need it. It was very important to them. Because just remember how extreme their actions were to keep it under control. That reveals how much they needed it. They didn't want to let you go. And yet they're not going to be able to find someone to replace you. Thank you for the donation, Nikosa. He says, you deserve a happy life and you are enough. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good affirmation for everyone here. But yeah, your standards were far too high for them. They couldn't even meet your basic needs, your basic requirements. And this is why, many of us, we develop mental health issues, anxiety, depression, stress, all kinds of physical illnesses. As it is, narcissism is a breeding ground for bacteria, parasites. It just is, because it encourages neglect. With everything that they do, the abuse, not taking proper care of you, and targeting your self-awareness. You can't take proper care of yourself. And just other things like you can develop autoimmune disorders with like sleep deprivation. You get sick. So it's really a breeding ground for bacteria. It just spreads illnesses. And so nothing can really last. Nothing can really survive with them. It all just gets worn away over time. Because they can't meet you there. They can't meet your needs. They couldn't be what you needed, so they ended up neglecting you. But yeah, once you've woken up, typically they try and find someone who has lower boundaries. Someone who has less awareness. Someone who's more foolish. Someone who's going to foolishly do what they want and expect little or nothing in return. That's really what they're looking for, is a human object, a human workhorse, a human machine. That's what they want. They don't want a mutually beneficial reciprocal relationship. They make you believe that they do because they know that's what you're looking for. But they can't ever be that for you. They can't even take care of themselves. So how could they ever take care of you? They can't even manage their own emotions. Essentially, they're like big babies. So without a doubt, they will be struggling without you. It's going to be a real problem for them. And for you, this is it. Initially, it's going to seem like it's the other way around. It's going to look like they're the ones who are thriving. They are the ones who are so happy without you. And I'll tell you why. The reason why is because you started to wake up to the abuse. You realized that you deserve better. So you built back up your boundaries. You started confronting them. And so they could no longer get the supply from you that they were getting before. And this is where they then had to go and find a new source someone who was going to provide to them, someone who didn't know who they were, and someone who they hadn't learned. So now there's this validation coming in. They're getting something out of it. Someone is open to them, even if it's another narcissist. It's something for them to work with now. So of course, initially, it's going to look better. And everything looks good at the beginning. Because there's no commitment, no responsibility. They're just coming in and consuming. So of course, that's going to look good. Anyone can just come into a situation and start consuming and looking like they're doing well. And as for you, you were trauma bonded, hooked on this addiction to dopamine that they provided, and also the oxytocin from when you were intimate with them. Because many of you, you're loving, compassionate people, and you desire connection. And, you wanted a relationship. And then they take all of that away from you. They take all of your dreams. They take away the future vacant. They take away your hope. So of course, you're left feeling depressed. You're left feeling alone. And they sabotaged everything. They isolated you. So of course, things are not going to be looking good for you. And it's going to be looking much better for them. Initially. But then gradually the tables turn because you begin to grow, you begin to heal, you understand things. You start working on yourself, healing. And the new supply, that well runs dry. It no longer fulfills them as it did in the beginning. Once the new source begins to figure them out, no longer believe and validate the false image, or the newness just wears off and they get bored of it. And then they start to devalue the new supply just as they did with you. Now that's no good as well. So gradually the tables turn. And then they can see, the grass always looks greener to them. It looks better with you. So many times the narcissist will come back to you. They will try and be with you again. They'll re-idealize you. Because they can see that you're attending to yourself again. You're growing, you're healing. And they want to come in and be a part of that just like they did at the beginning. When you were the shiny new toy and they came in to extract from you. So that's how it can sometimes appear as though they are doing better after leaving you and you're the one who is struggling. It will seem that way at first. And often if you don't let them back in, if they know they can't continue extracting from you as they did before, then what happens is they will stalk you, monitor you, isolate you, because they do not want to see you growing. They do not want to see you healing. The moment that they sense that you are moving on, that's when they come back. They sabotage things because they're never moving on. They're always suffering. They're never satisfied. And they want to keep you down at their level. Because any time that you grow above that, it reminds them of how they can't grow. They can't heal. That's why they want to keep you stuck. Because honestly, anyone who's higher up, anyone who's actually found peace, happiness, they want the same thing for you. But yeah, this is what you got to remember, they're not looking for a partner. They're looking for a caretaker, someone to take care of them. It's not reciprocal. They're not giving out what they're getting back. And so inevitably it's going to fall apart. One person cannot sustain it. They can't sustain a narcissist. No one can. So eventually they are going to be struggling. And gradually they're going to keep downgrading. They're never going to find better than what they had before. because no one's ever going to give what you gave. You know, what you gave to them, what you provided, which they minimized and validated. They acted like it wasn't anything special. It wasn't a big deal. They're never going to find anyone who can provide that to them ever again. They're never going to find anyone who can provide even a tiny fraction of that to them. They're never going to find anyone who will tolerate even a fraction of the things that you did. They're never going to find anyone who can perform at even the fraction of the level that you did for them. So there's no way that they can't not struggle without you. They will be struggling without you. And there's no ifs and buts about it. It's a guarantee. And anytime that it appears as though they're not struggling, it's either because it's the beginning of something. And even then, you know, that's just fantasy. It's delusion. And maybe they're trying to pull you into it, to make it feel real for them, to make them feel like they actually have something, when really they don't. If they had anything, they could have had something with you. Who better to have something with than the person they're constantly extracting from? And that's just it. That's who you know they're not going anywhere, because if they had anything that was really worthwhile, that was really something significant, something to be proud of, they could have just shared that with you. Because who better to share it with than the person who is invested into them? That's how it works. If someone is invested into you, clearly they have value. If they're helping you to grow. So if you invest into that person, you're going to grow together. And you're going to reach heights, levels that you likely never would have been able to alone. And yet they didn't do that because they had nothing to give. They had nothing to provide. And that's why it's not because you weren't good enough, which is what they want you to think. That has nothing to do with it. You were more than enough, and that's why they targeted you. That's why they extracted from you. That's why you see the narcissistic smirk. They were so excited to take from you, because they knew they didn't deserve it. They knew they didn't deserve you. They knew they came up with you. And that's why you see, you know, they're smirking, laughing. It's like such a big deal to them, because they know it's like they had their hands in the cookie jar. They had access to something that they should not have access to. It's like they got something for free. They got a bargain with you. And, you know, that's just it. What about inflation? Maybe there's not so many bargains for them anymore. And yeah, people are waking up. People are aware of this now. People know what to look for, so they're not going to find a better option. It's just not going to happen. I mean, anytime that you think that they're actually moving on, they're happy, they're living their best lives, they're doing better, you just got to look back and remember the ruts that they left you in. Remember the condition that they left you in. The effect that they had on your life, how much they screwed up your mental health, your body, your mind, your finances, your relationships, everything. Someone who can cause that much damage, that much destruction, nothing's ever going to get better for them. It's never going to happen. For most of them, at least. I mean, for some of them, there are some. Some of them, if they're willing to take accountability and they self-reflect, then they can grow from it, they can heal. And then things could actually get better for them. But in most situations, that is highly unlikely. It's probably never going to happen. Because they would have to be accountable. They would have to see all of the damage that they've caused to people's lives and the damage that they've caused to themselves. Most narcissists are never going to realize that. So they're going to stay stuck. Because it's accountability, that's the key to our success. So typically nothing's going to get better for any of them. Just think about it, they can't even see the anxiety, the health issues, the problems that they cause to you, the negative impact that they had in your life. They can't even see it, or they don't even care about it. So you just remember the destruction they caused. And let that be a reminder to you of how they will always be struggling without you. Because people who cause destruction, people who damage things, it's because of an inability to manage and take care of themselves. That's how that happens. And anything that you gave, anything that they took from you, that's not going to change anything. That's not going to sustain them. They need to learn how to generate it from within. And of course, they're likely never going to do that. They're going to continue playing the victim, blaming people. So nothing is ever going to get better for them. And I would say without a doubt, in most situations, the narcissist is going to be struggling without you. Regardless of what you see, regardless of what you hear, it doesn't matter. Typically, whatever you see, whatever you hear from the narcissist, especially after they leave you, the reality is the opposite. You never trust a narcissist. And, that's how you know you're still in the fog, you're still trauma bonded, is when you trust what you see or hear from a narcissist. Someone who was lying to you all that time. They deceived you, exploited you, abused you. That is not a trustworthy or credible person. Do not believe anything that they say or that they reveal to you. It's all BS. You can't trust people like that. You need to start trusting yourself, trusting your own perceptions of what you've already seen from them. And not only that, but trust the experts as well. Trust the doctors, the people who specialize in this. Don't take anything from the narcissist. It doesn't matter what you see. It's irrelevant. They're never going to grow. They're never going to find happiness. Nothing's ever going to get better for them. And more than anything else, you are evidence of that. You are evidence of just what a horrible person they are. You're evidence of how they will always be struggling without you. Just remember the condition that you are in, or observe the condition that you're in now. Observe your current circumstances. Take a good look at it. And let that be a reminder of how, yes, they are struggling without you. Because look at what they did. Look at the damage they caused. And that's just it, that's how they just end up being tied to you. Anytime that you try to move on, anytime that you try to make things better for yourself, then they come back and ruin it again because they want to keep you down where they're at. Because they view you as an extension of themselves, and because you're no longer validating the false self. Mona Lisa says, yes, Christopher, it's just like an addiction. I feel that it's almost impossible to leave. You just got to remember, you are addicted to the fantasy, not to anything real that they actually were, because anything good you saw from them, it was a lie. It wasn't real. If it was real, then where is it now? Things that are real last. Things that are real sustain themselves. That's how you know that it was fake with them. And so recognize that you are addicted to the fantasy and the feelings, the euphoria that it provided to you. And the only problem is it was a shared fantasy. And they could never maintain it. They couldn't be that for you. So, there's nothing wrong with fantasies, visualization. It's a wonderful thing, that we have this ability to do that. Especially if you are gifted with your imagination, creativity. I believe that's something that animals aren't able to do. And yet it can motivate you, encourage you, give you ideas. And this is what people have to understand, is that to never underestimate the power of your imagination, of visualization. And this is actually something that every CEO, entrepreneur does. They use visualization first. And also remember this, anytime that you think that fantasy, imagination is just for kids, let me tell you this, right? Everything on this planet that humans have built, humans have invented, the cars, clothing, buildings, technology, laptops, iPhones, everything. All of these things, it started out as an idea in someone's head. A thought, a picture. It was just in their imagination. So this is the power of what you can imagine, of what you can fantasize about. The only problem is it was tied to the narcissist. Sever the tie and use your imagination to your advantage. You can create wonderful things with it. And, just look at my channel, my community. It was all created with my imagination. I envisioned it first, and then it became my reality. So never underestimate it. And yeah, just, sever the ties. Overcome that addiction by simply fantasizing about something else. I see people are talking about a weird coldness with a narcissist, where you don't even kiss or hold hands or anything. Yeah, that's because what's going on is that they feel like they're no longer getting as much praise and admiration from you as they were before. So they don't really experience attraction. You're an extension of them. You're a reflection of them. So they have to feel good, confident about their false image. The problem is you've now figured it out. You realize it's not real. And now they've lost the confidence to perform for you. So they've lost interest in you physically, sexually. That's what's going on. And that's how they now just compartmentalize you as a prop, as someone who just serves them. Because their attraction is narcissistic. It's all about themselves. It's about how good do they look being with you. That's all that it is. It's all about themselves. They're self-absorbed. So you have to make them feel like they look good, and there's like this element of grandeur, envy, jealousy. It's like in their minds they're probably thinking, how many people wish they were me right now? How many people wish they could make love in this hotel? Or how good do I look in this robe? This is the mentality. Because it's all coming from insecurity, feelings of inadequacy. And they compensate for that with a false self, which needs validation. So, yeah, if you start validating the false self again, they will be like putty in your hands. You will have them wrapped around your finger. But you have to do it gradually, subtly. Start with just subtle compliments, suggestions. And yeah, that's how you regain control over them. Because honestly, that's what they're looking for when they're going after the new source. It's because they perceive them as unaware. And they see it as though, oh, this new source is going to be in awe of me, shocked, impressed. And then it's narcissistic. It's all about them. It's about, wow, I'm so impactful. I'm so impressionable. You see how it really has nothing to do with the other person. It's all about themselves. It's narcissistic. It has nothing to do with love or connection. And, this is how you see they seem to get involved with a variety of people. It could be anyone, because all that really matters is the supply and what other people are going to perceive of it. And this is how, you'll find that they're typically drawn to whatever they think is popular, trending. And time could go by and it could be something the opposite. And then they'll be interested in that. It's all about their image, the validation, and provoking envy, jealousy, to think that they have and they are something desirable. But yeah, this is why you find, that they go cold and distant towards you, and they're off somewhere else with someone else. It's because that person is unaware and they believe in and validate the fantasy, and you don't anymore. So you want reality, you want real love, connection. They want to tune out. They want to escape. And you can see that because then they start pulling away. But when you're asleep, when you're not fully conscious, now they want to be around you. Because they can mold you, brainwash you into validating this fantasy version of themselves, which makes them feel omnipotent, desirable. And that's all they're really looking for. And everything, it doesn't matter what it is. Whether you're going out to dinner or you're making love, it's not about you. It's all about their ego. It's all in third person. It's all about them just envisioning in their minds, how does this look to other people? How would they see it? How would they see me? Or it could be, how many other people wish they were me now? Wish they could be with this person because you compliment their image. And that's really all that it's about. And this is why they're insatiable, because they don't experience anything directly. It's all filtered through you or someone else. They live vicariously through our perceptions. This is why they're always so miserable. This is why no amount of supply, no amount of people is ever enough. Because you're just constantly feeding them. It's not self-sustaining. And it just goes back to what I was saying at the beginning, And, fantasy, visualization, these things aren't bad. Many things in our lives are fantasy. The problem about it is that it's all about them. And there's no real adventure or excitement to it. It's just all about themselves. That's where it becomes a problem. That's where it becomes abusive, neglectful, harmful. It's because of that lack of connection, the lack of mutuality. And, that's the reason why it's harmful for you. And at the same time, it's the reason why they're always so miserable and they're never satisfied. But yeah, the narcissist will be struggling without you in most situations. It's not going to get better for them. It will seem better initially, but then gradually the fantasy is going to die. The new supply is going to see through them. What they have isn't self-sustaining. Nothing's going to grow. Nothing's going to get better. It will all fall apart. And as always, they're going to play the victim and blame the other person, like they always do. So of course, nothing's ever going to change or get better because they never take accountability. And as for the new supply, even if, they're a good person, they can take all the accountability they want. It's not going to change the narcissist. So, yeah, I'm pretty firm in that. In my belief that they will be struggling without you. That's what's going to happen when you walk away. But yeah, those of you who watched my video yesterday, I went for a walk and I did some filming around you. Recorded some footage in the park. I did in the city. You can see that in my video yesterday. Using my own footage. I was going to do some more recording today, but unfortunately, it is raining now. But I will be recording some more footage soon. That's in my raw videos. The ones without the music. Thank you for the donation, Canadian Meth Dude. We get lots more content coming soon. I'm just finishing up the editing for tonight's video. Well, night here in the Philippines. And yeah, lots more topics to cover. On narcissists, gang stalking, chosen ones. Lots more to come. And the topic for today that I will be uploading, hopefully within about 8 hours, is why do narcissists walk way ahead of you? Which is a topic I've never covered before. But it will be a very interesting and validating video for you. But yeah, anyway, that's it for this video. Give it a thumbs up if it was good for you. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're new here, subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you'll be notified when I go live again. Your donations are greatly appreciated, no matter how small. You can donate by going to paypal.me/Narc Survivor. If you'd like guidance or support your healing journey, you can book a one-on-one with me. Just go to my website. It is narcsurvivor.co.uk. Follow me on Instagram. It is Narc Survivor YouTube. And check out the new Facebook group where I have new videos every day. And often doing some quizzes on there as well. It is Narc Survivor on Facebook groups. So yeah, that's it for this one. Thank you all for joining me on another Narc Survivor live video. And I look forward to speaking with you in another one very soon.